Alright, we're back for another game against Zebra. We win the die roll, which is great, and we will play Rayne, as if that was a surprise. And we're playing against Prossh, Skyraider of Care. So, wish our opponent good luck. Have fun. We'll jump back to that later. Don't do a lot of chatting in this game. Alright, so Rayne. This is a keepable hand, a little bit slow, but it can get there. So he keeps as well, and we're just going to lead on Thawing Glaciers. And he clicks right through his turn. Now, to me, this felt like he probably had clicked F8 by accident before clicking a land, or had clicked F6 to get through my turn, but not realizing I had clicked F6 before he had. So he clicked it twice just to be sure, and because I had already clicked it, it jumped all the way through his turn. Lesson, don't ever click F6 twice, because if your opponent's clicked it, you will skip your turn. So we go land, and we're just going to leave up Thawing Glaciers. We just need to get mana in play here. And this is why it felt like he F6'd. Chrome Mox, Imprinting, Violent Ultimatum, so it is a Jund-colored Mox, pretty good. He had Pitch Burgeoning in the first turn, and Mana Crypt. Alright, so that is a well above average turn 2, even when you F6 through your first turn. Oh wait, there's more of Sylvan Library. Well, that's just peachy. Alright, so this to me says that he clearly F6 turn 1, and he doesn't have any green mana in his hand. The fact that he had to use Chrome Mox to get the Sylvan out surprises me. So we know he had all of these cards except one in his opening hand, because he's only drawn one card so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. He should have only drawn one card so far. No, he's drawn two. So he might not have had the Chrome Mox and something to put underneath it. So we'll see. So we're going to Thawing Glacier. The Sylvan Library is resolved. There's nothing we can really do out of it short of Cyclonic Rift. So we're just going to play a good game against it, and accept that he's going to draw 4 or 5 cards more than we are over the course of the game. He loses a flip. I love it when he loses a flip when he's got Sylvan in play. He Sylvans for the full Monty, and he has a land, so he must have found that land. And to me, this says that he actually knows how to use Sylvan. It's just blindly take 8 a couple turns, but he has the Mana Crypt, so he might be being more cautious about it, and that might be a saving grace for me later in the game, I'm thinking. But the first turn, you definitely just take the 8. You want to draw the cards. You want to dig down into your library. If you are like just floating cards on top of your library, it's not actually digging for you. It digs every draw step that you see more than one new card. You need to see 2 or more new cards if you actually want this to dig. Otherwise, it just becomes a Muri's Guile. Basalt Monolith, and he's been choked on mana, so we are going to Spell Crumple this and continue to choke him on mana. That Sylvan Library is a good card, but if you don't have the mana to cast the spells it gets you, it's not going to do anything. So this is the turn we ponder, because we have another 3 mana counter in our hand. And next turn we want to be able to have Dismiss up, and we weren't able to play it because the only land we knew was Thawing Glaciers. We see Double Island Strip Mine, so we know we will have enough lands to get to Time Stop at some point. And we put the Strip Mine on top and draw that with Ponder. Usually I'm loath to keep triple lands off Ponder, but we have Pithing Needle, we have Time Stop, Dismiss, and Dissipate. And Dismiss will dig us through that Ponder at one point. So that's alright. And now I'm planning on Thawing Glaciers not coming down until it's maybe my 7th land or something. 7th or 8th land. So, alright. We're going to sit on our Dissipate and hope he gives us a juicy target for it. He uses Sylvan Library for another 4. Oh no, he lost 3 to Mana Crypt, not Sylvan. And he doesn't draw with Sylvan, which strikes me as odd in a moment. And now I see that he was planning on using this Shuffle effect. Now we've committed to the Strip Mine plan. We are planning the Mana Denial game. It's the only way to combat Sylvan at this point. I couldn't counter Sylvan. I'm not going to stop his draw, so I need to keep him from playing stuff that he does draw. So that is, as much as I'm disappointed to dissipate the Kadamas Reach, it's done, because we can't let him get a land into play, a land into his hand, and then play it from his hand, because he would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 next turn, which is enough to cast Prossh, and we need this time stop to stop Prossh the first time, because time stop will actually counter all Prosh's trigger as well for making kobolds. So I'm going to strip mine and destroy the mana. We just have to keep him off of it. It was our plan. We committed to using this to slow down the game, and sure enough, he has to take 4 off, 3 off Crypt and none off Sylvan. So he finds another land. That's good for him, and he goes with Himnotorarch. My hand's not bad, but the chance that it just randomly hits Dismiss or Time Stop is too much to take. 2 cards for 1 isn't something I want to do, especially against an opponent with Sylvan Library. So Dismiss is going to draw out of the rest of that Ponder, pick up our 6 untapped land, and because we're planning Time Stop next turn when he'll have mana for Prossh, on his next turn he'll be able to have 5 potentially, unless he gets a Sol Ring in. So we need Time Stop for when he has 6 mana and not 5 mana. So now's the turn to play Pithing Needle, and we name Hermit Druid here. I haven't seen basics. His deck's pretty tricked out so far, so I'm thinking that it might be a Hermit Druid combo deck. We don't have Planeswalkers. This can't turn off his Moxen, and it can't turn off Sylvan. So right now, I feel like it's the best bet. We have an answer for Prossh, so we're not worried about his sacrifice effect, and we have no better targets. We kind of want to get Pithing Needle down because we're hoping it might also eat removal at some point, and he'll spend removal on that rather than something like Crypt. Now we run Rayne out as well, because if he spends removal on Needle, we'll get a card out of it. So we're trying to give him multiple targets, so that way Rayne's going to give us some card advantage. And he eats another 4 off Sylvan, drop into 19. Has another land, and goes with Rootbound Crag. Rootbound Crag's alright. Innocent Blood. Alright, well, Rayne 8 removal, it just didn't draw me a card. So, that is unfortunate. Now, we draw Teferi, and Teferi was probably one of our best draws here, because it means leaving all of this mana up for Time Stop isn't going to come back to bite us. So we have a land, and ship it back. He does not lose his flip, he takes no damage off Sylvan, and just ships the turn again. So I'm guessing he didn't find his mana for Prossh. Now in that situation, you might want to just take 4, because you're not going to see new cards if you don't take damage off Sylvan. So we're going to slam Teferi. He thinks about it for a while and lets it go. I think he was trying to figure out if he wanted to spend removal on Needle, or if he could in some way remove Teferi once it came down, but that is not how he works. And there we go. Our 7th land is Thawing Glaciers. Well, 8th land if we count the strip mine. So Thawing Glaciers comes down, and we are planning on Time Stop. We miss our attack. We just click through it, not thinking. We're focused on the Time Stop. And we have Counterspell for anything other than Prossh. So Sylvan takes no damage. And taps some mana, and Skyshroud Claim. Now we've been staying on this mana denial plan. We have him on a 6 turn clock if he loses 1 flip, and if he loses 2 flips, it's a 4-ish turn clock, because we'll play Rayne on one of the turns on his end step. So this is an easy counter. It's once again, we need to make sure he can't get value out of Sylvan. So we counterspell that because we're planning the Time Stop for Prossh. And he scoops it up. Now, keep in mind, he had turn 2 Sylvan Library with mana that he could have potentially had turn 1. We're not sure if he F6'd or legitimately couldn't play the Chrome Mox without imprinting something, or didn't draw the Sylvan. But I don't know how you keep the hand without Sylvan. So he sends us, yeah, you're a fag. First of all, you spelled "your" wrong. User Zebra, Z-E-B-R-A-H. Your is Y-O-U''RE in this type of insult. It would be U-R. It's a contraction. Now, secondly, you've been reported to MTGO. I know some of my viewers might think it's a little harsh of me to report somebody for language like this, but my opinion is if you're playing someone online and they behave in a way that would not be appropriate if you're playing at a tournament at a gaming store or a GPT or something, they should be able to be held to the same standards. And this would never be acceptable at a tournament that Wizard sanctions, like where you're sitting across the table from someone. So, in my opinion, it is not acceptable here online. It's against the DCI rules, so it should be against the rules in this scenario as well. So he's got a report. If you see him online, I would steer clear of him. He seemed to get very upset despite having turn 2 Sylvan Library. And but I wanted to upload this game because A, it's a great example of how to play against a Sylvan Library that you can't do anything about. You can't stop the library from working, but you can stop them from being able to do anything. And you don't need Stone Rain to play the mana denial strategy. Counter the ramp, because at a certain point they're able to cast multiple things per turn, and they're drawing multiple things per turn off Sylvan. Keep them from getting to that point, and you can play 1-for-1 all day long. And then the other reason I wanted to upload this was to highlight this. This is not acceptable behavior. You're an adult. You said you were 18 or older to download the program. You paid money for this. You've clearly paid money into your deck. Chromux, I think, is like $6 now. Sylvan's about that. Crypt is like $1, but that one's several. Like you have the Vat Master's Hymn. Prossh is a buck or two. Like he clearly has money into this program, and this is not a way that a mature person who spends their money acts. Don't be this person online. If you got a bad beat, if you got upset because you lost to Sylvan, say it out loud. Don't say it in chat, because you wouldn't say this to a person to their face. Don't use anonymity or partial anonymity as an excuse to be like this online. Thanks, and we will see you guys in the next one.